NFC South, the Roundtable, how is it going? It is the usual suspects back here for another video, another live stream here on Tuesday. The only difference is that now football actually matters. We've been saying football's back for a while, but like we're actually in the thick of it. Some guys on this panel are absolutely happy, feeling good after week one. And then some are already feeling depressed based off of how their teams have played. Clay, I'm not subbing you. Don't worry. I'm in the same boat as you are. Don't worry. We'll talk about it. We got all that and so much more to get into. We're also going to preview the week 2 games at the end of today's live stream. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But before we get into the games, let's just go around the table, see how the guys are feeling after the first regular season game of the 2025 NFL season. James, you got the smile on your face. You came in behind the scenes, backstage. You're already smiling. I know you're feeling good.
Life is good right now, right? I'm happy. I'm sure a lot of Bucs fans are happy right now as well. Feeling great, man. Feeling great. Can't wait to dive into it today. Today's a good day.
Well, Berto, on the other side of things, you weren't smiling. You weren't smiling backstage. You're not smiling right now, Berto. Berto, it's okay. It was one of those. You know what you were doing? You were doing that meme where you're crying, but you have the mask on that's smiling. That's what you were doing. That's what you were doing, Berto. How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. I just saved a bunch of money by switching my car insurance to Geico, so I'm good. I'm good. There's nothing to frown upon, man. It's one loss. I'm not tripping, man. Still a long season. Rise up, baby.
Not tripping just yet, but someone who might be tripping is our boy Clay. Clay, I know that you're about to burst one in today's show, so we'll pause. But man, I know you weren't very happy with what happened with the Panthers in week 1.
I mean, how can you be when we look like an absolute dumpster fire, man? This team's a mess, dude, and it's not just Bryce Young; it's coaching staff as well. So. Yeah, we're going to dive into it, and trust me, I'm going to make sure this chat can't really even talk their shit tonight, so after I'm done.
Damn. Make them laugh with you, Clay, before they laugh at you. That is a great mindset to be in, man. Great mindset to be in. And TJ, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Great day. I'm here, excited, ready to kick it with you all. Took me about 44 minutes to get from my job to home, and I'm excited to be here, man. Speaking of 44, I think a young way cool missed a 44-yard field goal. Am I right? I mean, and shouts out to all the Falcon fans and all the NFC South fans, because it doesn't matter if you think that I'm wrong or you think that I'm wide right. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
That was bad.
What an intro by TJ. Now, TJ, I got a question for you. With your mindset here in the regular season, are you one of those Saints fans who you still want to win as much as humanly possible, or do you have that mindset of the more games we lose, the better for the overall draft pick?
The Saints didn't look bad in the game, So, I mean, they looked a lot better than a lot of people thought. So, I've been saying this, and this is not a cop-out. Everybody knows that this is a rebuild. So, I'm taking a good with the bad, and I've seen a lot of positive things they can build on. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm not worried about any tanking or anything like that. I don't feel like they're trying to do that. I'm excited what I saw from the team. They showed a lot of fight, and I'm just excited about what can possibly happen in week 2.
Great mindset to be in right now if you're a Saints fan. I mean, I guess as good as it possibly can be. So certainly not bad. Certainly not bad. But let's get into this first game. It was the big in-division game that we previewed last week. The game where ultimately James' Buccaneers were able to end up on top. And unfortunately, Berto's Falcons did not rise up. In fact, Berto, I think we all know what mindset you are in. You're in that old Bill Belichick mindset, if you will.
Don't reference that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I had to bring up that old little quote there for you. Just felt fitting. But James, let's start off with you. What happened in this game and what allowed?
Nope. Colby, I'm gonna check you here. Start with Berto. I need to hear Berto go first.
Okay. We'll start off with Berto. Berto, you have the floor. You lost, okay? Use this as your opportunity to go off. Rant. This is free therapy.
No free therapy needed, man. We got exactly what we deserved, right, in this one. You know, we weren't the better team in this one, and that's fine. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they came out, they had a plan, obviously stuck to their guns. They looked at the roster up and down. Obviously, losing Darnell Mooney for the Falcons proved to be key. Why was that? Because they were able to do things defensively that we just couldn't. We weren't able to pivot as an offense. Really, they took Drake London out of the equation, loaded the box, really, held the Falcons' run game in check. But that's more so on Zach Robinson and his inability, like I mentioned, to adapt and pivot. There's no reason why Zach Robinson couldn't do that. Now, this is a Zach Robinson that's going into his second year as Falcons offensive coordinator. So he should be able to, just tweak things up, and he wasn't able. Now, shout out again to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for what they did. Shout out Antoine Winfield for that incredible play that he had at the back end of the game and towards Casey Washington. He played the ball right through the hands, made a phenomenal stop. But one thing as us Falcon fans should be happy about is this defense. This defense did come to play. We only gave up 23, which is cool. But you got to be happy with the performance of the rookies. I'm not worried about him, man. He's chop suey, bro. I ain't tripping off of him. His ass is on his way out, man. As a matter of fact, we signed a kicker by the name of John Romo or something like that. That guy. So we should have some competition going heavy this week and put a little fire under Koo's ass for missing that shank. But needless to say, the Falcon fans, as a fan base, for myself, I'm happy with the performance of our rookies. Yes, we didn't get the sacks that we wanted, but we did generate enough pressure. In fact, we've pressured the quarterback on 40% of the dropbacks, which was tops in the league for this past week, something that we weren't accustomed to seeing. Now, James Pierce Jr. did get 4 pressures. He did get a few QB hits. It's exactly what we wanted out of our first round pick, is to show his presence and show that he needs to be accounted for on this defensive line. At the back end now, Billy Bowman played a fantastic game at the nickel spot, actually was credited with a half a sack, and Xavier Watts played really well. Other than that little mishap in coverage communication there that gave up the go-ahead TD to Mecca Buka, or the first one, I should say. Other than that, he played a pretty clean game. So overall, I'm not tripping off this loss. There's a lot to be happy about with this Falcons loss. And yeah, how can you say that with a loss? But it's the glaring needs that we shored up that came in and showed out and played. And one thing, can't nobody on this panel tell me that Michael Penix is not him. Michael Penix, 27-42 for 298 yards, 2 total touchdowns, longest pass TD of his career to Bijan. And of course, he dove in for that would-be go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Michael Penix showed you a lot of grit and moxie in this first game for the Falcons, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, all right, let's damn StreamYard, man, every freaking time. But let's go. Hey, yo.
Oh, my bad. TJ, you switch teams?
Legendary.
Man. There you go. How about that one? Yeah, put the women and children to sleep.
Look, let's go on over to James. Okay, James, we allowed Berto to go first. We allowed to hear him rant. He didn't really have a whole lot of negative things to say. In fact, it was a lot of positivity, nonetheless, about his Falcons, despite the individual loss. James, what were your takeaways from the game?
There were some things that Berto said that I do agree with. Penix looked really solid, right? I was very impressed with Michael Penix and what he was able to do. A little bit as a running quarterback, definitely just taking the easy stuff as well. He only had a few bad throws on the day, in my opinion, and that was good for them, right? I am happy, about Berto's rant, if you will, because he didn't give any excuses, because quite frankly, there are no excuses for the Atlanta Falcons. Right. They couldn't get out of their own way. They outgained the Bucs 358 yards to 260. However, they had 8 penalties on the day. They had 23 first downs to the Buccaneers 16. They had a 35-minute, 12 seconds worth of possession to the Buccaneers 24 minutes, 48 seconds of possession. So while we can name a lot of positives for the Falcons do what the Falcons do, and they can't get out of their own way, Colby. And they missed a game-tying field goal.
Brother.
Mr. Younghoe Koo, who everybody and their mom worshipped in the past in Falcons history, misses the game winner. Misses the game tire, and that's with the Buccaneers spotting them 4 points with missed points of their own. So, at the end of the day, the Buccaneers were just able to get it done because they just had what it takes more than what the Falcons were putting out there on the football field. Were there some positive things to take away from the Falcons? Sure. But as I've said before, as TJ said before, as Clay has said before, and I'm sure Berto's starting to think it too, until this team can learn to get out of their own way, they are never going to stop being the choke artists that the Falcons have been.
What would you call getting in our own way? Please enlighten me.
Missing the game-tying field goal, having
Besides
8
that.
penalties, outgaining by almost 100 yards your team, and having 13 or 14 more minutes of possession, and you still can't win a football game? I looked it up, or I saw this on Twitter. The Falcons, whenever they're in that scenario, I think we're like 18-1 in team history. Not now. Now they're 18-2.
No shit, Captain Obvious.
So I mean, like, so it's just they're finding new ways, more ways to lose football games, and this was a big one for them, and they still couldn't do it. We don't have to see the Falcons again until December.
That's a long way away. Is your Christmas?
It is a long way away.
Yeah.
So it's just another scenario where it's just baffling to me that the Falcons can't get out of their own way. And look, hey, a win's a win. I take a win. And there was some positive there. Emeka Egbuka, straight dog. Love him. Fantastic.
Got to give it to him, man. While we kept Mike Evans in check, I think 3 receptions for 55 yards, something like that. You can, correct that if I'm wrong. It was Emeka Egbuka. And, the way that Josh Gizzards, whatever the hell his name is, drew up some of the plays, those over routes, they were phenomenal. And really took it to Atlanta. So it's kudos to you guys, man. I know this feels great. It feels great ever since the broom sweep from last year. I get it. This is a moral victory for y'all. I'll take the L.
It was 5 catches to 51. And also, Berto, you can reference the sweep as much as you want. It doesn't matter.
I have to. Oh, it matters. Because y'all fans in the chat acting like next week is the playoffs and you guys already won the division.
It didn't matter because the Bucs still won the division last year. So I don't
give a damn. It's going to be a different story this year.
I don't know what we're talking about. But again, the Falcons can't get out of their own way. This is another example of this. Younghoe Koo, I don't know, man. Not great. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Well, let's go down to Clay. Clay, what were your outside thoughts when watching this in-division battle and the Buccaneers end up on top?
Well, I'll eat my crow on Michael Penix. All right. I'll eat my
How's that ground beef taste?
Yeah. I'll eat my ground beef. I actually had a burger tonight, so I'm good.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Lean mean machine.
Look how that worked out. No, but I mean, the kid, listen, man, I'll give Michael Penix his flowers. I mean, he dragged that offense down that field, man. I mean, he had some gutsy runs. He had some great throws. I mean, thank God for Bijan Robinson because, I mean, the thing is y'all's run game average in that game was 2.2 yards per carry. But luckily enough, he's a great out of the backfield in the receiving aspect of things. But the biggest thing with the Falcons, I thought, was that your offensive line is a liability, Berto. I mean, the injuries are not false starts, blown blocks. And then, again, run game averaging 2.2 yards. I mean, you can't – the only thing is if that continues, you can't think that's going to last for 10 games and you expect Penix to keep playing Superman every week. You know what I mean? Like, you can't expect that. Like, and I gave Penix his flowers. Like, again, great game. He did his thing. But overall, I mean, on the Tampa Bay side of things, like Yaya Diaby is living in the almost zone. Like, I feel like that dude's pressures like a man's possessed, but like the sacks pay the bills, man. And right now he's still broke. I don't know what's going on with him. Keep bringing the heat, but eventually that stat sheet will catch up and it won't, and it will cut off here soon. So Baker Mayfield keeps finding ways to survive. I don't know how he does it. But 3 touchdowns, a clutch strike to win is exactly the chaos Tampa Bay signed up for. It seems like they keep doing that because last year was overtime heartbreak. This year it was a last-minute rescue. And it really doesn't matter who's under center for Tampa Bay. But, again, Baker Mayfield pulled it out. And then like I said, I watched Emeka Egbuka. And when I was doing my draft, when I was doing my mock drafts and doing my draft content on my channel and breaking down his film, I thought he was the most well-balanced wide receiver overall in this draft class. Like, even though I love T-Mac on my team, I just thought everything I saw on Emeka Egbuka, from a route running perspective, hands, his release, just everything overall, he is the full package. And 2 touchdowns in your debut, that's not easing into the league. Like, you're kicking the damn door down in that type of in your first game. So Godwin, I hope gets healthy. And honestly, if he gets healthy and you got Emeka Egbuka, Godwin on the outside, and Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield is going to, you thought he had a good year last year. It's only going to get better.
Great analysis there, Clay. Great analysis. TJ, let's go on over to you to wrap up this game. And I'm just going to give you the floor. I feel like you got some things to say. I'm going to give you the floor.
I just want to start by asking the Atlanta Falcon fans out there, how does that humble pie feel yet again? That's all I want to know. I'm not letting y'all off the hook. Everybody talking about, oh, they did this.
You got him off
the hook. We did this yet again at the beginning of the season. I want everybody to go back. If you just checked out the NFC South Roundtable, please go back to the chat and the energy of the Atlanta Falcon fans. Oh, what y'all gonna do this year? The NFC South belong to us. Oh, man, we swept the Bucs last year. I ain't trying to hear none of that, because this is what the Falcons do. They hype themselves up, get all excited, talking about what they're gonna do, and then week 1 happens, and then it gets slapped back down to reality, and we start talking about moral victories. I don't want to hear that. You were supposed to be the NFC South. You were supposed to be running the South, and Tampa Bay was supposed to take a step back. This was supposed to be y'all culmination, and you choked it away. I don't want to hear anything. Michael Penix, yeah, he showed a lot of heart. He's a tough guy. He made some really good throws. Talented dude. But at the end of the day, the Falcons do what the Falcons do, which is lose football games in the clutch. They had no business losing this football game at all. They had no business losing.
I agree with you on that one. We should have.
They had the best game plan that you can possibly have to go up against Tampa. And Tampa only sacked Michael Penix once. Mm-hmm. There's no excuse, man. But for both teams, I look at Tampa. It's going to be hard to beat those guys, man. I'm sorry. It is going to be hard to beat them. I mean, they are only going to get better throughout the weeks as Tristan Wirfs come back and Chris Godwin come back. This is going to be a dangerous team. And Baker Mayfield, that guy does not know what quit means. I mean, usually you'll see a quarterback scramble and try to slide. This guy trying to lower the shoulder with his passing on. They are a dangerous football team. And I just think that the South belongs to them until somebody steps up. The Atlanta Falcons, I'm not going to just completely just toss them to the side. They got a lot of things that they should be optimistic about. But I do want to see what Michael Penix is going to do next week. We'll get into it a little later against a defense that is going to pressure the hell out of him. And he is not going to be able to think and have go through his reads like he did against Tampa. That's all I'm going to say. But I am not letting the Atlanta Falcon fans off the hook. I don't want to hear anything. And as far as everybody talking about, man, we on everybody's mind. On the mind for what? What have the Atlanta Falcons done other than talk about what you're going to do? Holler at me when you actually do something besides lose 7 of your last 8 opening games.
We should turn this into NFC Falcons table. We should just rename this goddamn channel.
The reason why is because you have no reason to have this type of confidence. You guys have done absolutely nothing at all. I'm not saying not have confidence in your team, but you're not that good. You have not made the playoffs since 2017, and you have lost 7 of your last 8 opening games. And yet again, we're supposed to bow down to the almighty Falcon. Listen, that's all right. Don't worry. It's a long season.
Don't worry, it's a long
Yeah,
season.
it is a long season.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
The reality hey, holler at me with that 0-2, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Hey guys, look, let's go ahead and let's get into this next game. But you guys let us know your thoughts about the Buccaneers win over the Falcons in week 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Before we do that, though, you guys have been very, very generous with the super chat, so do want to get into those. We got T. Riley, who comes in here with a $2 donation and says, get him, TJ. Who dat? We got Mr. King with a $2 donation who comes in and says, how about the refs reversing a play after a spike? How about that? How about that? We got Tom Brady himself coming back in here. Berto, your favorite guy. Your favorite guy is back.
He goes on my channel too.
He says 28-3. I got a Brady Super Bowl MVP jersey for you, Bert. If you trash that Falcons merch and become a Patriot. Colby, you must do a Patriots event. Forget New York and Miami. Hey man, I've been trying to tell the guys we gotta get an event for New England. We did try to do an event at Gillette Stadium this year, but unfortunately the prices were unbelievably expensive for what that team was asking for, which is a little bit crazy for a team that hasn't proven anything yet. But don't worry,
go November 2nd.
Still come out to the event. Okay, we don't even have to watch the game. We'll just talk Patriots the whole time. The whole time, I promise you. You even gotta watch those bum teams.
Colby, you said a team was acting outrageous for having not proved anything. That's interesting. I don't know where I've seen that before.
Golly.
I think that was towards you, Berto. We got Gary coming in here with a $5 donation that says Falcons and Panthers need to stop it. It's the Saints' turn to rebuild, and you guys been rebuilding for a decade.
Decade is 10 years. Get your math right. Your math is not math.
It's almost as long as the Falcons have not had a winning record for.
Again, your math is not mathing, sir. A decade is 10 years.
Stay tuned.
Where'd you go to school at?
Crowd comes in here with the $5 donation and says 12 challenges, 14 booth reviews, 11 play reversals, still an L. Hashtag go Bucs. Hashtag F the refs.
Yeah, terrible all weekend.
That's true.
Falcons lucky the Bucs was off. Lots of miscues. Should have been a blowout. They'll knock the rust off. So enjoy your 2024 Broom Trophy. And then Mr. King comes back in here with a $2 donation and says 1 sacks with Bucs Central playing left tackle. Come on.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So real quick, I do want to mention that. So Graham Barton, usually the team's starting center, started at left tackle in that game. Ben Bredesen, the team's usual starting left guard, was the starting center for that game. And then Michael Jordan, somebody who Colby's familiar with, got elevated from the team's practice squad and started at left guard in that game as well. So
did he look decent?
Man.
He did fine. Yeah. I mean, like, he was a better pass blocker than a run blocker.
Michael Jordan played also for the Panthers a little bit too. So
there you go.
That's where we got him.
And another thing is the funny thing that you said, Graham Barton played left tackle. When he was a freshman at Duke, he started at left tackle before they moved him over to center later on.
Yeah, he played left tackle, I think, 3 years at Duke.
Yeah.
So some experience on that offensive line. But all right, Clay, before we start breaking down this Panthers game, do want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor, one of the sponsors of the day here at the NFC South Roundtable, and that is over at Sleeper. Use promo code RTS and you'll get up to a 100% match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. And now there was only one team here in the NFC South that it allowed me to start building a parlay for. So, Clay, I want to kick this one off to you. We're going to build a quick parlay here, and you let me know what you like, okay?
Bryce Young interception. Bryce Young interception. Go ahead and put that on there.
Yo, do we have that on here? Let's see. We got pass attempts. We got passing yards.
Oh, no. Just go to Chuba Hubbard, then I'm not going to make you lose money. Chuba, definitely 60. Yeah, he
think he'll go over?
He could definitely go over 60.
Definitely go over. Okay,
Tetero,
58.5.
Tetero McMillan, it was nice. He was the only bright spot in the last game. Yeah, you could go over. I mean, he hit 58. Maybe he goes over in this game. I don't know. The Arizona's defense is they're sneaky. They're sneaky.
That is true. They do have a low-key defense. What about
they're
Leggett?
Sneaky good. Will Johnson looked nice.
You think Leggett could have over 34.5, or would you take that
His
under?
sense of awareness in this last game was about as bad as.
So we'll take the under, although it's not actually letting me hit that, but whatever. It's all right. Something might be a little bit
If you want to
wrong.
take James Conner rushing yards, you'll win some money.
James Conner, you want to go? Where is it? Looks like it's here. Let's go to rush yards. Maybe it'll give us here. Oh, no, we have. What about Bryce Young rushing yards? 15.5. You like over?
Sure.
You want to do over on that? Okay, yeah. You can't do it through the air, but he'll do it on the ground. I like that. So that's going to be the parlay. If you guys want to follow us, follow the same parlay that Clay just gave us, some good money opportunity right there. Make sure you go ahead and check it out over on Sleeper. But let's go ahead and let's get back to these games. And Clay, we're going to kick it off to you because obviously you were very disappointed with ultimately what happened in week 1 here. So going to give you the floor. Let me know what happened. You guys had so much potential, it felt like, towards the end of 2024. And there's a lot of football to still be played. Okay, let's make that clear. But at least for week 1, it felt like it was the old Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no talking me off this ledge right now. We have a franchise quarterback problem. I'll be honest with you. Bryce Young is not developing, ladies and gentlemen. He is drowning. A 51% completion rating, a 4.4 yards per attempt against a mid Jacksonville Jaguars defense. That's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. That's not just bad. That's horrific. I mean, those numbers to me are historically ugly. Like if you go look at even the advanced metrics, I even went to go look at it. Don't know why I did put myself through that pain, but dead last in EPA, dead last in success rate, dead last in yards per attempt when it mattered. Out of the 29 career starts that Bryce Young has had, he's only led at halftime 5 times. So again, it does not matter. He had clean pockets. He had 3.6 yards per attempt. And, that's just screams like screen pass territory for me. Last season, yes, there was this narrative of hope because you saw the resurgence after getting benched. But even against a mid Jacksonville Jaguars defense, Young was average at best. There's no precedent exists for a starting quarterback who's poorly and becoming this franchise cornerstone that we expected. And I'll be honest with you, I think the clock is ticking on Bryce Young. Week 5 may be I'm going to give it to week 5, maybe the unofficial deadline for Carolina to see if he's the long-term quarterback or this is going to be a cautionary tale. Because Bryce Young right now isn't just terrible. Every single play he goes out there, he's also, he's not carrying the offense. He's not elevating players around him. If you go look at these quarterbacks around the league, what does a top-tier quarterback do? He elevates guys around him. He makes guys better than him. Yeah, he'll throw a few sharp throws here and there, but then he just ends up having these reckless moments. And it's just like when you go watch the Jacksonville game, you had 2 interceptions, should have had 3, but got called back due to a holding call. He falls forward instead of sliding like a smart quarterback does and fumbles the ball. Like, again, this does not inspire confidence to me that this kid is built for this league. He, at this point, I think he is a bench player. I think he's a journeyman at this point, the way it looks. Now, I'm not going to go – it's not all Bryce's fault because Dave Canales is a guy that I told y'all that lack of preparation has killed the Panthers once again because we saw botch snaps after botch snaps on this offensive line. We're talking about forgetting fundamentals and starters are sitting too long meant week 1 mistakes were the same thing we saw last year because of an arrogant dumbass of a head coach, and Dave Canales chose to think that he saw enough in joint practices. I mean, make it make sense to me because this is a team-wide clown show. And as much as it is about coaching, it is about the players too. Because Canales is supposed to be still this leader of a head coach, and he's supposed to be Mr. Positivity. But Carolina at this point has paid the price. And I can tell you right now, if Canales doesn't tighten this up by week 3, our season's going to unravel before October. Defensively, since Ejiro Evero has been here, here's a fun stat for you, our defensive coordinator, ever since he's been here, okay? He's been here since 2023. It's 2025 now. He has allowed over 120-plus rushing yards 26 times since he's been here. So we now, in this game, our run defense is historically awful. Now, that is also due to the fact that Bryce Young had his turnovers and he did set up the defense in poor field position. So that's on Bryce. But this is also the 7th straight game, alluding to back last year, of 200-plus rushing yards games. So our linebackers aren't filling their gaps. Our defensive line, who looked like overpaid traffic cones at this point, our secondary actually looked good. But the problem is there's no adjustments. There's zero answers. And Evero continues to double down on this soft zone coverage. And he tries to do this bend but don't break concept that now is just bend and we just shatter. Okay. Injuries are no more excuses anymore for this team. I don't want to hear injuries because Evero refuses to make the correct adjustments, and the best coaches are able to make the correct adjustments, injuries or not. And this whole thing about Ejiro Evero was supposed to be this defensive mastermind. That label is dead. And if he doesn't adapt fast, this defense will drag this entire franchise into the abyss that it already looks like. The only glimmer of hope right now is Tedero McMillan is him. His hands, his concentration, his route running, his playmaking ability. It gives me a glimmer of hope. But he can't fix this team alone. And honestly, again, we are just an absolute mess. Bryce Young is underperforming and his clock is ticking. Canales is learning on the job with like costly mistakes. And Evero's defense is an absolutely active dumpster fire. And I think if this coaching staff doesn't adapt immediately, this team will collapse. And David Tepper will not hold his tongue any longer. And you will see a firing probably by midseason.
Wow. Well, Clay just went off, but we got a huge $45 donation from our boy Cordell, who, you know what? He's a little bit more in the glass half full side of things for the Carolina Panthers, if you will. So, Clay, maybe this will give you a little bit of a bright spot, maybe a little positive reminder.
There's no talking me off this ledge now, Colby. You can't go 2 seasons in a row and then expect in week 1, and then they stumble out the gate again. It's the same story, the same thing we see. You can't tell me otherwise at this point.
We got Cordell at least coming in saying, Clay and Panthers Nation, we can't let week 1 define us.
Cordell, though, for the $45.
Bryce Young will bounce back, and we will be better in week 2. Always remember, no matter how bad we may play, we always beat the Arizona Cardinals.
Don't talk me off the ledge. You can't do it today, buddy.
TJ, let's go on over to you. What were your thoughts on the game?
Now, you know, all these games happen at the same time. I had to go back and take a look at the game just to see what was going on with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. And I came to this conclusion. Bryce Young suffers with a lack of confidence in himself. You're not like some quarterbacks, kind of like similar to Monday night with J.J. McCarthy. Like, he struggled like the first 3 quarters. Then all of a sudden, it's like he found something in himself to try to, rally back, and that fire and that passion. It seems like when it comes to Bryce Young, if he starts the game off and he's looking pretty decent, he might end the game looking pretty decent. But when he goes through like adverse times, it just seems like he gets in his head and he starts to make these mistakes, and it just starts to just roll downhill. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think that this is just a bad team for him. I don't think that Dave Canales is the right coach for him. Dave Canales, to me, kind of strikes me as a guy that's kind of passive-aggressive, and I don't think that's what the Carolina Panthers need, and I don't think that's what Bryce Young needs. It was terrible, man. Like, honestly, it was god-awful. Offensively, they made some plays. They got some talent. Defensively, Travis Etienne averaging 8 yards a carry. That's crazy. He was doing whatever the hell he wanted to do out there. They basically just sliced them apart, man. The tight end Strange was just making plays, and Trevor Lawrence was able to extend plays. I thought that I would see a better version of the Carolina Panthers this season, especially like the way that they ended it. Like, that's the reason why I had them coming out of the South, in second place. I just don't get it, man. To me, Bryce Young needs he needs to go somewhere else, or they need a new coach. It's something about this kid that when he goes through adverse moments, he can't shake it. And that's the most concerning thing to me, because when you are a great quarterback and you are won on every level, and everybody has told you that you're great, and not too many mistakes happen, not too much adversity you face. Now all of a sudden you go to the NFL, you're just another guy, and you're going through these adverse times because the team that you went through, they're trying to figure it out. I'm concerned about Bryce Young as a quarterback in the National Football League. I think the guy has talent, but the Carolina Panthers are going to have to figure something out, because I don't feel like this team is going to reach its full potential until two things happen. Well, one or the other. It's rather Bryce Young, they move on from him and allow him to go somewhere else and they find someone else, or they get a coordinator up in here that can be able to talk to him and build some confidence in him throughout the game. Like how Jim Harbaugh does with his quarterbacks. Like, he's always in their face. He's always encouraging them. I just think that this guy lacks confidence. And if you lack confidence at the most important position on the field, which is a quarterback position, your team is going to fail. Plain and simple. It was embarrassing, man. Like, as a Carolina Panther fan, I would be embarrassed, because look, it'd be one thing if you didn't have the dogs in the barn, but they got talent all across the board. And you put on that type of performance, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
I just want to allude to what TJ said too, because it's right. It is embarrassing, but I think TJ is also right about it, because I thought about it too. It's that this isn't just a Bryce Young problem. I think it is a coaching problem. I think Canales is too soft, because I think it's a systematic issue as well, because offense and defense both looked unprepared and uncoordinated, and it was just error prone. Like, we repeat the failure. You see the failures and they repeat it. And it just shows predictability. It shows lack of cohesiveness. You have these snap issues. You got drop passes. You got missed assignments. These aren't isolated. They're symptomatic of leadership and preparation deficiencies. Like, that's the issue, I think, because it's just the same thing I told you guys. And a lot of people didn't believe me when I said that the preseason reps really matter for this team. And we chose to give this team 4 series all preseason long. And now Canales is reaping what he sowed when he said, oh, well, I saw enough in the Houston Texans joint practice.
That's the problem. That's the problem, Clay. That is the problem. That's what these coaches do. I'm all for a coach being a player's coach. But you gotta hold these guys accountable. You gotta coach the little things that get you beat every single time. It's the same issue that's going on with Mike McDaniel in Miami, and it's what's going on in Carolina right now. Bryce Young is a symptom. He's not the disease. Dave Canales and his coaching staff, that is what people need to look at, because you're killing this guy's confidence. I'm telling you, that's his issue. Look at the body language on the sidelines. You can tell. You need a different type of vibe if you're going to keep this guy as your quarterback. If not, then you might need to send him somewhere else, because this isn't going to happen, man. This marriage is not going to happen. I'm telling you.
Well, let's go on up to James. And James, let's hear your thoughts about the current state of the Panthers, but also more specifically about this game. What did you take away from this team?
Couple of quick notes. Firstly, thanks for the $45 super chat. Colby, I think I speak for all the boys when I say we'd like to renegotiate our contracts. Secondly,
me too.
Secondly,
good one, James.
Quick programming note. I always love whenever like TJ's up to something with changing his background, because he has a very specific thing where it's like he gets like a little smirk on his face. And you just see his gears start turning, and then he'll change that background when everybody's talking, and then just slightly shift over like this to make sure everybody can see it. Yeah, I love that. It's funny every single time where Clay will be making a point or Berto will be making a point, and I just see TJ, just his gears are turning and he's getting ready to cook. So I love that. Crazy. So real quick, who would have thought that the Panthers would be the worst team in the South after week 1? Not me. Dude, so I went back and I was taking a look at this. In the third quarter was so rough for the Panthers. I'm just looking at this right now, guys. You had first and 10 from Jacksonville's 14, turnover on downs. That's inexcusable. Then next drive, punt. Then the Jacksonville throws an interception. You have first and 10 from Jacksonville's 38. They gain a few yards, but then 4th and 5, but then another turnover on downs deep into Jacksonville's territory. That's inexcusable, man. I mean, they had 3 points, guys, until 4 minutes and 47 seconds in the fourth quarter. That's just completely inexcusable, right? Especially for a team that we had all agreed had made some strides and had added some talent both on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. And I agree with TJ and Clay. This team has good players. Ted McMillan looks like a very legitimate guy. You have 2 1,000-yard running backs from last season on your roster, and you still can't figure it out offensively. That is beginning to become inexcusable. And I also agree with TJ where, look, Bryce Young, he just talk about taking a step back and just showing clear signs of regression. I mean, this was bad, right? Like this was just downright bad just in terms of what he saw last year to now. I don't know what changed. And it is unfortunate because I do feel like the Panthers have pieces there that can make this football team work. They're just not going to figure it out. Until some big changes are made. Is that at the coaching staff? Possibly, right? Possibly. Is it like what DJ was saying where, hey, Bryce Young might just not be the right guy for Carolina? I don't know either. Clay, I mean, hey, there is another quarterback out there that Dave Canales has worked with. His name's Kyle Trask. So I don't know. You got Hendon Hooker.
It's Hendon Hooker season, TJ.
Yeah. So maybe this is a Hendon Hooker type of situation. I don't know, man, but I agree with Clay where it's like, hey, now you went from having a good feeling in week number 1 to, oh my God, what in the world do we do now? And the clock's ticking, right? And I feel like this was the exact same situation that we saw the Panthers in last year. And I just wonder if we're going to see a repeat where we do get to week 4, week 5, and it's like, okay, we're getting more Andy Dalton because what other choice do we have? And it's just a terrible situation for the Panthers
Red Rifle.
I'll tell you one more thing real quick. This when you know his confidence was shot. Clay, it was 4th and 1. They in the red zone. He throws the ball away.
That's bad. That's so bad.
You got to fault that too on this organization. You traded away Adam Thielen, a safety blanket for Bryce last year. Right, and you leave it in the hands. Hold on. Coker is out for the year, right? And Hunter.
No, he's not out for the year. He's only out for 4 weeks.
4 weeks. So he's not in the equation right now, right? But you guys re-signed Hunter Renfrow. He did absolutely nothing. Got to stop thinking about pulling the plug on Xavier Legette. Three targets, 10 yards. 3 catches, 10 yards. That's not second round worthy, man. So yeah, the Panthers' problems are more than just Bryce. I think it's organizational. The right pieces are not in place. And all of you guys made great points. I'm going to make another point too. 4 of your defensive linemen or defensive players per PFF bottomed out at less than 50 or at 50. That's inexcusable. But that shows, and we're not trying to jump on you, Clay, and by no way, shape, or form, or the Panthers, but it's stuff that needs to be brought to light, and it just brings validity to what you have said. If Arujaro just running that vanilla-ass defense, and you got guys that in place that can get after it, like, Tavarius Wharton played in the system with Steve Spagnuolo. He knows how to win. He comes from championship pedigree. You should have expected big things from him lined up with Derek Brown, but unfortunately, you just couldn't. I mean, come on. Travis Etienne rushed for 140 plus yards, almost 9 yards a carry. Bro, you guys exhausted so much, resource into the defensive line. I hate to say, but it just not working out, man. It just sucks right now. It's only one game, but what does that do for the morale and just the confidence of the team going into next week, right? Because these wins and losses do affect the psyche of the team, whether you like it or not, right? You go into the game doubting yourself, and if you feel like that off rip, it's tough pickings, man, going down the line, bro. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Something's got to change in Carolina, bro. It really does.
Sure. But all right, fellas, let's go ahead and.
I want to allude to what TJ said real quick with that 4th and 1 play. It was actually a miscommunication by Xavier Legette and T-Mac. They both ran the wrong routes. And then on top of that, Bryce notices Jadavion Sanders is wide open on this crosser route. and then he throws it away. But he could have also ran that ball and got that 1 yard. He could have got that 1 yard. So that's another thing. I'm gonna rest my case, but everybody made great points, and I can't agree more.
But all right, guys, let us know your thoughts about where the current state of the Panthers are, and based off of what you saw in the Panthers of this game, into the comment section below. We do have one more game to get to, but you guys have been very, very generous today, so we want to make sure we get to all of you guys. We got Zoe coming in here with a $2 donation, said, smoking on that Falcons pack. Hashtag go Bucs. Hashtag go Bucs. Hey, we got Cordell coming back in with a $20 donation, man. Shout out to Cordell. Said, got to agree with the Canales take. He plays too reserved when he needs to play more aggressive. Bryce performs better in an up-tempo play style. And our young defensive players were barely in the game. We deserve better. Certainly understand why Panthers fans are feeling the way they do. Crown comes in here with a $2 donation, says it's over 300 people and 92 likes. Come on, game LFG. Guys, for real, we got 368 people watching right now. If you guys want to support us here on YouTube, please make sure you guys don't just tune in every week, but make sure to leave a like every single week. YouTube always changes the way that it pushes videos and channels out there into the YouTube verse, but the way they're doing it now is based off of the way that you guys interact with the videos, based off of likes and comments and shares and all that good stuff. So if you guys want to help us here at the NFC South Roundtable improve and grow and make this the #1 roundtable for Roundtable sports divisional shows, then make sure you guys slam that like button. I mean, absolutely no reason we shouldn't have 300 likes, man. 300 likes by the end of the show. So let's make this thing happen. And then, of course, shout out to Mr. King, who comes back in here and says, hey, Clay, thanks for taking Canales off our hands. Well, one man's trash is unfortunately another man's trash in this case. So let's go ahead and let's move on to the final team before we preview these games. TJ, you guys ultimately did end up losing against the Cardinals, but I do think everyone thought that it was going to be a lot worse. You guys kept it within a 1-score game. So break down ultimately how you did lose this game, but what are some of maybe your positive takeaways about the Saints?
Yeah, I'm going to make this quick, man, because I want to hear what the fellas got to say. But, I mean, look, I was impressed with the New Orleans Saints, all things considered. It's good to see that they're actually going out there fighting. I thought that the offense, was able to move the ball down the field. Spencer Rattler got the ball out of his hands. He was only sacked once. The offensive line did a really good job in pass protection. The running game, I feel like they kind of got away from it. Probably had something to do with Arizona kind of pulling away, and maybe Kellen Moore thought that maybe passing the ball to try to stay in the game. I don't think that is the right game plan, especially when you have a young, inexperienced quarterback out there. You want to rely on Alvin Kamara, who scored a touchdown. Kendre Miller, he was running the ball pretty well, as well as Devin Neal. These wide receivers of the New Orleans Saints, too small, weak. And they rely way too much on a down the field game. When you look at Arizona, I mean, they basically just play shell coverage all day long. They're making sure that nothing goes over their head, cover two. And if you neutralize the New Orleans Saints' inability to be able to push the ball down the field with Shaheed and Olave and Cooks, I'm just wondering where the big plays are going to come from. Who is going to be able to step up? The Saints, they have to look at themselves, because they had an opportunity to bring in a big possession receiver, but they waited to the very last minute to make a trade with the Denver Broncos to bring in Devon Vele. They could have went and got a guy in a draft, or maybe signed somebody in the offseason. But the New Orleans Saints are going to have to figure out who is going to be that possession guy, that big body guy. Defensively, I thought they played pretty well. There was some hit and misses. They don't have any shutdown corners on this team. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's a feast of famine type guy right now. You got Isaac Adam on the other side, probably would be a backup on most teams. The Saints lost Julian Blackmon. Unfortunately, he was probably one of the best defensive players that you had in the secondary. He's out for the season with a torn labrum. But the front did a really good job. Cam Jordan turning back the clock with a sack and a half. Carl Granderson pitching in. I was wondering how they were going to produce with Chase Young being out of the lineup. But they made some plays, and they didn't give up in this game. And that's all you can ask for a team that nobody believes is going to do anything. Just go out there, show some fight, show some grit, and I feel like the fan base is going to get behind you. But this is not a playoff team. Kellen Moore showed his inexperience, holding 3 timeouts going into the half. What the hell was that about? That also shows you that he does not trust Spencer Rattler fully. But how can you blame him? I mean, he hasn't won anything. And, you know, if you're looking at Spencer Rattler throwing the ball down the field and getting the ball picked off, even though it didn't count, I mean, it had to be in the back of his mind. So he has to learn how to trust his quarterback, and he got to trust his team. And you're never going to get an opportunity like you have right now. People don't, once again, expect them to do anything. So you're playing with house money right now. But they lacked urgency, and he played scared. And we had a coach like that before in Dennis Allen. I'm not trying to see that ish again. So we have to figure this thing out, man. But it's rather you going to trust Spencer Rattler to be that gunslinger and, you know, and be able to push the ball down the field, or we just going to play in a fetal position like we've been doing over the last couple of years. But nobody wants to see that. So that's what I thought about the game, man. I mean, I'm just happy that they showed some fight.
Well, let's go on up over to James. James, what were your thoughts about the Saints?
Yeah, I'll keep this quick. I was impressed more so than I thought I was going to be with the Saints and their performance against the Cardinals. I mean, you know, Rattler was not great, but he was pretty competent, all things considered. You know, they had a chance to win the ball, or at least tie up the ball game at the end there, which is certainly more than I think a lot of us expected. The defense got 5 sacks, got a lot of quarterback hits in there as well. Had some impact plays there. Of course, the injury to Julian Blackmon is really, really unfortunate. And I agree with TJ where it's like they are missing that kind of big physical threat type of wide receiver. Maybe that's going to be Devon Bell. We're going to have to wait and see on that. But overall, you know, just keep it short and simple. I was impressed considering I thought the Saints were going to be like down in the depths of the basement. They showed a lot more fight than I thought they were going to. And obviously it's not exactly a scenario where it's like, well, yeah, Spencer Rattler's the truth and the answer and stuff like that. And like, hey, this team is going to figure it out this season. But, you know, they looked a lot better than I thought they were going to. I will say that. Now, does that make them a scrappy team that is like going to be like that all year? Does that make the Cardinals just like really freaking mid? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
Berto, let's go on over to you. What were your thoughts about the Saints? Are you as positive as we've kind of heard so far? We have some technical difficulties with Berto, so we're going to call an audible. Clay, let's go down to you.
Yeah, I mean, for the Saints, like I felt like the Saints pass rush looked good. Like I thought Jordan and Granderson were doing their thing. I just think there's got to be somebody else who steps up to finish the plays, right? It's just not enough. I thought the pass rush was good. It's just they weren't finishing the plays, and quarterbacks like Kyler and maybe even some others can keep slipping out the backfield, but let's hopefully they can, obviously, turn that around. Spencer Rattler wasn't a disaster, right? I mean, but he's not gonna, the way he's playing, he's not gonna win you games like that. I mean, the kid showed some poise late, but field goals and dink and dunks aren't really going to cut it. At some point, your quarterback has to scare a defense, and he didn't, right? And I agree with TJ. The clock management was a joke by Kellen Moore. I mean, 3 timeouts in your pocket while Arizona ran out the half. Like, that's just coaching malpractice. You got to figure it out. But there was also some penalties. There were some self-inflicted wounds. I mean, you had 13 flags in that game. That's how you lose winnable games. It's not bad luck. That's just sloppy, undisciplined football. Right. That those are drive killers. That's momentum killers right there. And then of course your kicker botching a 37-yarder and gifting field position on a kickoff is that stuff can't happen either. Right. I think a group is better than what we saw this past Sunday, but he flat out sucked on Sunday. So, but overall it wasn't bad. Like, it's not like they got blown out. I mean, they held their own. I mean, they held a Cardinals team to a 1-score game. They almost, it was just like there's just too many mistakes that kind of just took them out the game.
Berto, do we got you back?
They can't.
Well, we don't got Berto back.
Yeah, they can't afford it. That's just what it is, Clay. Yeah. They can't afford to make.
Yeah. I'm just having some problems with these headphones, but yeah, no, you guys made a bunch of great points. I ain't gonna sit here and jump on the Saints, man, but I gotta give them credit for fighting. They fought. And that's the number one thing, man. So that's the biggest takeaway for me. Sure, there was some undisciplinary things, 13 penalties, like Clay reported, for 89 yards. Yeah, of course, you could just show that. That just shows, the immaturity of the head coach there, first time head coach at that. But otherwise, I mean, I like what they did, man. Brandon Staley might be a bright spot after it's all said and done. 5 sacks, and like TJ said, Cam Jordan turning back the hands of time with a sack and a half. You guys had 5 sacks. But some things that could, haunt this offense, like you said, TJ, you might need a big body wide receiver for there, because none of the wide receivers came to show up, especially when you have Juwan Johnson, the tight end, leading that stat. So, really not too much to go off of in the Saints loss. I just give them credit because they fought, man. That's it. They didn't roll over and play dead. So they were good.
Berto, it was a little bit funny. I don't know if you know this, but we're like, Berto, do we got you back? And then it was just like 10 seconds if we didn't hear anything. And then TJ went to talk. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I'm back. If you guys have ever seen that episode of Family Guy where it's like Brian and Stewie, and they're like, they have to like make up a play, but Chris is down the hall, and so they have to do it on the phone, and then they got to tap the table because there's a delay. Like that's exactly what came to my head. But TJ, any last thoughts before we wrap up the Saints game?
No, I just agree with
I'm still going through it. Yo, these headphones are tripping right now, bro. I'm listening, dead ass. I'm listening to you guys on here when you ask a question.
Yo, he's got a 30-second delay.
Oh man.
Now, seriously, the Saints can't play from behind, plain and simple. You got to play virtually perfect to beat some of these teams. So there's that. And it was actually 16 penalties in the game. There was just 13 got accepted. So totally unacceptable.
Yeah, definitely. But let's go ahead and let's transition on into these previews. But before we do that real quick, I want to let you guys know about our good friends over at RotoWire. Guys, draft time is here for your fantasy drafts. And right now, you can get an exclusive offer of 15% off using promo code RTS. What RotoWire is a plugin for all your fantasy sources. So when you're drafting, you plug it in, whether it's ESPN, Sleeper, the NFL draft, or the NFL app. You can use all of those with RotoWire. And basically what it is it walks you through the perfect draft plan to make sure that you end up number one in your fantasy league by the end of the year. And it walks you through your own plan. You build that plan. What do you want? In the early rounds, do you want to play it safe, be balanced, or aim for upside? I always like to play it safe. In the middle rounds, I always like to keep it balanced. And then in the late rounds, I like to aim for the most possible upside. It's also going to ask you, are you comfortable reaching for players that you really like? Because you will tell RotoWire, these are the players that I want. These are the players that I want to stay away from. Me personally, in the early rounds, I like to stick to average draft projection, or rather, I like to go get my guys. In the middle rounds, I like to keep it balanced. Late rounds, I like to stick to average draft projection. And then the really cool thing is that you can factor in what matters most to you when you are drafting to get the best possible outcome that you are looking for. Consistency to me matters the most. Injury risk is the second most important thing to me easily. And then also too, last year's performance, come on, do you got consistency or not? That's very important. So go ahead and check out RotoWire and make sure that you dominate your fantasy leagues this year. 15% off with code RTS. But fellas, let's go ahead. Like I said, let's get into these previews. And James, let's start with the Buccaneers. Let me know who you're picking for the Bucs in week 2. And ultimately, what are you looking for from the Bucs?
Well, they're playing Monday Night Football. It's a doubleheader. They will be playing up against the Houston Texans, which they looked pretty rough in week number 1 against the LA Rams. The LA Rams are a pretty good team in their own right. I'm looking for more consistency with the offense. I feel like that was something that did elude the Bucs somewhat in week number 1. Now, Baker obviously did Baker Mayfield things, and that was awesome, but the running game really didn't get going with Bucky Irving as much as I wanted to see. So that is something I want to see going forward. I am going to be worried about this defense with, guys, this offensive line, I should say, with them kind of like patching things together, having Graham Barton play left tackle, Ben Bredesen at center, Michael Jordan at left guard. When you've got, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter breathing down your neck, that's going to be rough, right? I feel like I want to see the pass rush also get going here because the Houston Texans, they traded away their best offensive lineman during the offseason in Laramie Tunsil for whatever reason they decided to do that for. So those are things that I definitely want to look out for. I am going to go ahead and give this to the Bucs just because I feel like with the Texans, I just saw a lot of flaws in their game. I hope that the offensive line can survive for the Bucs, and I think that they really will be able to get after CJ Stroud. They're missing Joe Mixon as well. That's a big piece of their puzzle. Christian Kirk is a little bit banged up. They've got some pieces in there that are hurting on the Texans offensive side of the ball. They didn't have a great week one showing, and I think that the Buccaneers can take advantage of that. So I've got Tampa Bay winning.
Berto, let's go on over to you. Who are you taking? Are you going to take the Texans and CJ Stroud, or are you going to take the Buccaneers?
Oh, put me on the spot like that, man. You know what? I'll take the Bucs. I'll take the Bucs on this one. The Bucs, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Bucs. I'm just gonna keep it like that, short and sweet, man. I'm gonna go with the Bucs.
He wants to root so badly for the Bucs. It is eating his soul right now that he had to pick the Bucs.
No, man. I just got to go with what's right. And the Tampa Bay played a tough game against the Falcons, and I think they can limit the Texans. Like you mentioned, Joe Mixon's out, so they just gives Todd Bowles more means to get creative on defense and send the house to CJ Stroud when he least expects it. So I expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Houston Texans in week 2.
Clay, let's go down to you. Are you also going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make it 3 out of 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bucs should win this game. I think the Texans' offensive line, if you've looked at it, it's not very good. I mean, I don't know why the Texans ever traded Laramie Tunsil. It makes no sense. I think that if the Bucs, exploit the Texans' run defense early with Irving and White, you keep Baker Mayfield comfortable, right? Attack rookie defenders, mismatches in the secondary. You play disciplined, mistake-free football in all 3 phases. You win the field position, special team battles. You should win this. I think that this should be a good road win for the Bucs because I just don't trust that Texans offensive line ever since they traded away Laramie Tunsil.
And let's wrap up this game and go on over to TJ. TJ, are you going to make this 4 out of 4 for Tampa Bay?
Man, it's a tough game because, when I look at the Los Angeles Rams, man, they're a really good defensive team, man, and they can get pressure on your quarterback. It doesn't matter how good your offensive line is. And they also have a really good secondary that can match up and man up. And it kind of just, I feel like this is going to be a tough matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think that CJ Stroud is going to have a QBR 43 this week. I think they're probably going to play a little bit better. But I'm going to go with Tampa in this game. And the reason why is I just look at Baker Mayfield. I think it's going to come down to some clutch moments in this game. I think it's going to be pretty close. Honestly, I don't think either team is going to get into the 20s. I'm serious. I think that both of these defenses are going to come to play. But I just think it's going to come down to the final possession. And I've seen enough of Baker Mayfield so far to feel like he can at least get them into field goal range or even get a touchdown. So I'm going to go with Tampa in this game.
Going with Tampa to make it 4 out of 4. Let us know who you guys are picking in the comment section below. But let's translate over to the next game. And Berto, we're going to go over to you, all right? We want to know, who are you taking?
Oh boy.
Are you taking Atlanta Falcons? Are you taking the Minnesota Vikings? You're coming off of an L, but the Vikings are coming off of a dub. Short week, though. Who are you taking?
Mm-hmm. So this game is going to be interesting. And stop me if you heard this before. But the Falcons are facing some question marks, right? Is Drake London going to be available for the Sunday night matchup? He did hurt his shoulder, and as we all know, Darnell Mooney is out too. And now that tests the depth chart of the Atlanta Falcons at the wide receiver spot. And what can Zach Robinson do, to pivot in the case that Drake can't go? I don't know if I'm fully confident that he can get something going. He didn't prove it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He wasn't able to adjust within the game. So that just, puts a blunder in my eye as far as the what the Falcons can do on Sunday night. So unfortunately, man, I got to go with the Vikings, man. I think the Vikings can come in and at home. It's gonna be an emotional game. Their home opener. They're going to throw everything. And Brian Flores loves blitzing. He loves disguising looks. So that defense is another thing to keep an eye on, man. They did harass, the Bears QB last night. So I don't know, man. I'm just going with the Vikings on this one, bro.
Wow.
Sorry.
Berto is not taking his Falcons. He is taking the Vikings, keeping it real with himself. And you guys, we love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. Clay, who are you taking?
Well, J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix are facing off for the first time since that 2024 college football national championship. This game doesn't have quite the same stakes, but I think it's going to have the same result. I think McCarthy and that team wins. I think it's going to be close. I think this could be like a 24-23 type of game. I really do. The only thing that Atlanta needs to do, though, to win this game, because I think they can, it's just you got to put pressure on McCarthy. You're going to have to somehow, hopefully, AJ Terrell can lock down Jay Jettis, and you got to exploit mismatches. And I think the 2.2 average that you showed against the Bucs, you better hope Bijan and those guys can run the ball and play well-disciplined football in all phases, because against a Vikings team and that defense that's going to put pressure on Penix all day, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I think it's going to be close to what people think. But I'm going to take the Vikings.
All right. TJ, we got two creators already taking the Vikings. Any chance that you could see the Falcons pulling off the upset?
I think the Falcons going to win this football game. I'm
look, TJ.
No, I'm serious. Hey, look,
listen, I know this is your moment, but you know what this game gives me, the type of vibe it gives me, that when we went into week 2 last year versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and you know the odds were stacked against us, coming off a loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the vibe it gives me. You know, and Atlanta went there and won it in the fourth quarter. You know, they snuck a victory out of Philly. So I don't know. It could happen against Minnesota, but I'm saying this, man. You know, losing Darnell Mooney and potentially losing Drake London really hurts our chances going into Sunday night if Drake London cannot suit up. That's what I'm saying.
Look, this should be a big game for Kyle Pitts. I don't know if y'all paid attention to that Monday Night Football game, but the middle of that field was wide open. And if the Chicago Bears probably would have utilized Cole Kmet a little bit more, then it probably would have been a different outcome. It all depends on what Kyle Pitts is going to bring to the table. But look, everybody's falling in love with Minnesota, but I mean, they played horrible in most of that game. It just came down to the fourth quarter, and Dennis Allen does what Dennis Allen does, which is choke away a game in the fourth quarter defensively. So look, I like what I've seen out of JJ McCarthy, but I'm not ready to just anoint him as this future franchise quarterback. This is a winnable game for the Atlanta Falcons. They got enough talent to win it. And defensively, I feel like they could put pressure on JJ McCarthy. And if they can consistently do it and take advantage of some of the mistakes that he will give them, I can see them winning this football game, man. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So I got the Falcons.
Wow, TJ's got the Falcons winning this game. I mean, we got Berto saying that the Falcons are losing, Clay saying the Falcons are losing. There's this narrative that TJ is the biggest Falcons hater out there, but he is the one with the most optimism in this game so far. James, are you going to make it an even split? Are you going to take the Falcons, or are you going to take Minnesota?
Well, Berto's got the Falcons losing. Clay's got the Falcons losing. James has got the Falcons losing. The Falcons.
Yeah, you're tripping.
Yeah, the Falcons are going to lose. They're going to lose. By the way, since the NFL merger in 1970, approximately 9.8% of teams that start 0-2 have made the playoffs. Interesting note. I don't know. I have the Atlanta Falcons losing here. I just think the Vikings are the more talented team. I'm going to be very curious to see, the Falcons defense going up against the best receiver just in the NFL and Justin Jefferson. Some really good stuff that they have on the offensive side of the ball there. I will say the Falcons defense looked very good against the Buccaneers. So I am curious to see if they can continue that. Berto, I do hope Drake London plays. He's on my fantasy football team, so I need him to show up, please.
Yeah.
But if he's hurt, Darnell Mooney's hurt, that's going to be rough, man. That's going to be rough because that Vikings defense is no joke. But I also agree with TJ where it's like, hey, the Vikings in the first 3 quarters of that Bears game looked like crap offensively, and they were getting carried by that defense. So I could see this being a bit of a defensive battle here. If that is the case, I will give the edge to the Minnesota Vikings, though.
The edge to the Minnesota Vikings. But this is where we kick it off to you guys. Let us know who you are taking in the comment section below. But Clay, let's go ahead. Let's transition on over to you. Obviously, a lot of disappointment maybe from you on the expectations that you maybe had, and a lot of the expectations that were had by Panthers Nation going into week 1. Do you think that this is an opportunity for you guys to get right in week 2?
I mean, this is a get right. It could be a get right game. I mean, the thing is Carolina has beaten the Cardinals, I think, 3 in a row since the last time. I think we have a winning streak against them right now. I think it's something like that, 3 in a row. But the thing is Carolina's just got to go out here and make 0 mental errors. You can't have the same thing you saw against Jaguars, right? Broken snaps, missed tackles, out of position players. Then if you can clean that up, you can get a W, right? But the problem is Arizona's going to try to read this team, and what this team needs to do in game is make the correct adjustments on coverage in front and blitzes. Tempo control is going to be huge. Don't let Arizona dictate the pace. Short drives, controlled runs, quick passes, smart clock management, right? Get pressure on Kyler Murray. Run the damn ball, set the tempo, enable play action passes for Bryce Young. You've got to prepare this team mentally and get them prepared for physically as well. And execution, it has to be. It's not optional. You have to execute, and that's it. But I just don't see it. I mean, Carolina lost to a mid Jaguars team, and you didn't even look good against them until proven otherwise. I'm taking the Cardinals 28-17.
Taking the Cardinals 28-17. You heard it here from Clay himself. TJ, who are you taking in this game? Are you taking the Panthers or the Cardinals?
This is a winnable game for the Panthers. I don't know if y'all really paid attention to the Arizona Cardinals. I wasn't impressed, man. They just took away what the Saints did did well, which is, try to take the top off the defense. What the Carolina Panthers have is, it's a benefit in this game, and that is possession receivers. And I feel like this is a game where Teteroa McMillan can go over 100 yards. If Xavier Legette can actually catch some passes, he can possibly have a big game. But it has to start with them running the football. The Saints were able to average over 5 yards a clip. They have to utilize Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. You got to be able to run the football, because if you can run the football, establish the run, it can set up some of the plays down the field, and they can expose the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers, man. I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
Whoa, TJ got the upsets this week. All right,
I'm gonna go with
I like it, TJ.
I just feel like what they have, it's what Arizona struggles with. It was just the fact they were able to take the top off the defense. It says basically play cover 2, and the Saints basically are a track team. They got possession receivers in Carolina, and I don't feel like they're gonna be able to match up with them. If you got guys that can get yards after the catch, you can win this football game, man.
All righty. James, let's go on up to you. What do you think? Do you feel as good as James does, or do you feel as good as TJ does, or are you a little bit more pessimistic like Clay?
I'm a little pessimistic. I have the Cardinals winning. Real quick, by the way, shout out to Buck in the chat who said Bryce versus Kyler is a Pee Wee football quarterback matchup. That's hilarious. No, man.
DJ Khaled.
Oh man, wish I had his money. Shit,
that's goated. So I got the Cardinals winning this. Look, I'm kind of with Clay, where it's like, dude, until I see otherwise, I don't see this Panthers, and it's a shame because I thought the Panthers were actually going to be pretty solid this year. But it's just I'm not seeing anything to say that they can improve until I see improvement, right? So it is a favorable matchup for them. They got it, and I agree with TJ. Dude, utilize your 2 1,000-yard running backs. What are we doing here? Take some of that pressure off your quarterback, especially if he's having confidence problems, and just get going with that. But I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals here. I still think they're, a competent enough football team to get a win here.
All righty. So we got Clay and James taking the Cardinals, but we got TJ taking the Panthers. Let's see if Berto's going to split it or make it 3 out of 4. Who are you taking, Berto?
Yeah, man, I'm going to take the Cardinals on this one, man. I just think the Cardinals are going to be ready and just put the clamps on the Panthers offense, man. To me, it's all a confidence thing, man. I think the confidence within that offense, that coaching staff, it could be shot, man. To put up only 10 points against a Jacksonville Jaguars team is inexcusable, man. You guys have way too much talent. I don't know if you guys can rebound from a loss like that, and going up against a Kyler Murray led offense and Marvin Harrison Jr. You got to be ready for all of that. I just don't think it happens in a week. So give me the Cardinals, man.
Give you the Cardinals. Wow. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think about that game in the comment section below. But we got one more game to talk about. And TJ, that is your Saints against the 49ers. And this isn't the old 49ers that we've seen in the past that go to the Super Bowl and they're one of the biggest threats in the league and they're guaranteed to win the NFC. This is a very different team. And this is a team that already after week 1 is very, very banged up. They got some help at wide receiver by adding Kendrick Bourne, but that's going to be his first game back in quite some time. So do you think that there's potential for an upset here?
Yeah, I believe that there is. You look at some of the key injuries that the 49ers have. Like sometimes you just catch a team in a very vulnerable state. And this is the opportunity for the New Orleans Saints to try to get a victory. I mean, especially if Mac Jones ends up being the starting quarterback. Brock Purdy, I mean, he's questionable for this game. Christian McCaffrey has been dealing with some injuries, and they've had question at the wide receiver position, man. But Kyle Shanahan is a really good offensive mind. He's going to find ways to, exploit certain individuals on the defensive side of the football. But this is going to be, if the only way the Saints are going to win this football game, that defense is going to have to come to play because Robert Saleh is a really good defensive coordinator. And this may sound insane, but I don't know if the New Orleans Saints going to score an offensive touchdown in this game. Like, it might come down to the defense playing really, really hard and Blake Grupe kicking the Saints to a victory. I'm like, the last time the Saints played the 49ers, I believe the score was like 13-0. All right. So, man, it's probably going to have to come down to defensive performance. But I have the Saints winning the football game, as long as the defense comes to play.
Wow. Got the Saints winning this football game. Love to hear it. James, do you think that there is potential for the Saints to win this football game?
I think there's potential for it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think there's potential for it. Let me get the San Francisco 49ers. Here's the thing. I agree with both of you guys, Colby and TJ here. The 49ers always find a way to have like half of their roster in a hospital by like week 2. It's pretty impressive. I'm going to say that's probably their best quality as a football team. But I also agree with a few things here where it's like that defense is crazy. I mean, you've got so many pieces on the defense side of that ball. And again, Robert Saleh is a beast of a defensive coordinator. Offensively, I know that it's like, hey, George Kittle's on the IR, but some of their backup tight ends showed up. McCaffrey, he is, always like, a hamstring away from being out for like 10 years or something. But I still think that they have enough firepower offensively. And even if Brock Purdy doesn't suit up, Kyle Shanahan's kind of been like the king lately of him, and like Kevin O'Connell have been the kings of like, oh, we can literally play like anybody at quarterback and still have some level of success. So even if it is Mac Jones, I still think that their offense can find some modicum of success. I mean, I agree with TJ where it's like, look, this Saints offense against that 49ers defense, it's a rough matchup, man. That is a rough matchup. So I give it to the 49ers here. I just think overall they're the more talented team, so to speak. They just have a better roster top to bottom. Even if some of their backups do have to play offensively, I think the 49ers will be able to overcome it.
All right, Berto, let's go on over to you. What team you taking here?
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be for the 49ers. I think the 49ers, what they're going to do is just pivot to the ground game, just showcase McCaffrey and all he can do out the backfield and catching out of the backfield. Probably going to introduce more of what Ricky Parcell could do, the Florida Gator wide receiver. I just feel like the offense is going to be too much for the Saints defense. Although one thing to keep an eye on the left side or the right side of that 49ers defense is pretty weak. And the Saints brought it with Brandon Staley and what the pressures he was able to dial up. So I wouldn't be shocked if, they made this game relatively close, but I still see it at the end as a 49ers victory.
A 49ers victory. So let's see. Does Clay want to make this an even split, take the upset with the Saints and TJ, or is he going to make this 3 out of 4 for the 49ers? Where are you going, Clay?
Well, I think it depends on Brock Purdy. Is he going to be playing or not? He's got a toe issue. It sounds like it's worse than his shoulder because he's got a shoulder concern as well. So it's like Mac Jones is the next guy up behind him. And really, then you got Mac Jones throwing to a decimated receiving core that San Francisco has. And the only thing they've got left is Christian McCaffrey. George Kittle's out as well. I think that might be enough for the Saints to win, to be honest with you. And so I'm going to take the upset. I think the Saints could pull this game off. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say 23-20, something like that. I think it's going to be close. I'll take the Saints in the upset over a decimated San Francisco team.
Ooh, all right. Well, this is where we kick it off to you guys. Who are you taking in this matchup, and who are you taking in all the matchups here for the NFC South in Week 2? Let us know in the comment section below. A couple more super chats to get into before we log off for today. King Arthur comes in with a $2 donation and says, TJ, don't let Berto off the hook with that choke job.
Oh, man.
Be kind and rewind, King Arthur. You'll see what I had to say about that.
And then you got Rod coming in here with a $2 donation and says, 0-2, Berto. Let it reverse psychology. Rise up.
Let's do
Rise up, man.
Let's do
One
it.
more thing I do want to let you guys know about, too. Actually, we'll let you know about it next week, because I did not actually cue this thing up. But that's going to end it for today for the NFC South Roundtable. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. As always, we will be back next Tuesday, just like we're live here every single Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, live here on YouTube. So make sure you guys come back, kick it with us to break down everything that happened in Week 2 and to preview Week 3. As always, make sure to subscribe to these guys' individual channels. Link in the description box below. Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. As always, my name is Colby Cochran, host here of the NFC South Roundtable, a show brought to you by Roundtable Sports. We will see you guys next week.